Hey, did you know that we did 36 taglines?
Are you counting this one
Oh, 37.
in a row?
Yeah. Try not to do another tagline on your way through the parking lot.
I'm not going to the parking lot. I'm in my bedroom right now. That doesn't make any sense. Just start the show.
Okay.
Cannot hear you.
What's going on, everybody? We are the Cinefanatics. It is Tuesday night at 9:30 p.m. Central Time. That means it is time for the tagline. We are the Cinefanatics. I am Robert Adams, and
I'm Struggles McGee, otherwise known as Chris Adams.
that's right. We are here to talk about a ton of movie news that happened this past week. There was a lot that came out. But before we jump into that, let's catch y'all up on what's going on personally with us, because it's going to kind of affect the show tonight, unfortunately. But Chris.
Yeah. So if you guys have been watching us for a while, you know, we've talked about my struggles and everything that I've been dealing with my neck and the injuries I sustained from a whiplash a few years ago. They've been hitting me hard today. I've been struggling really, really hard today. Sorry. Anyway, there's going to be times where I'm probably going to need to like hop out of this chair, stand up during the stream. Probably shouldn't even really be doing the stream tonight, to be honest. Why am I tearing up? There's no reason to tear up right now. Anyway, like I want to be able to do this. I want to be able to do a show for you guys. So I'm gonna still try to do so anyway, because there's a lot of like really good stuff to talk about this week. There's a lot of stuff that's happened. Anyway, probably gonna need to get up a few times to avoid having a vertigo spell and getting super dizzy. You guys are going to see my flashy blue basketball shorts and my almost knee-high socks that I'm wearing to keep warm right now.
You put on the sexy outfit for tonight, didn't you?
Yeah.
I knew you did, you sexy son of a... Never mind.
Definitely did. I'm your brother. Shut up. So anyway, struggle is real today. Gonna probably have to hop up a few times during the stream. It's probably going to be a short one tonight, or unfortunately, despite the fact that there's so much to get into and so much to talk about. Apologize to you guys. Bear with me. I'm seeing a doctor tomorrow, or at least I'm calling to make an appointment tomorrow, because there's more that I need than just seeing a chiropractor 2 times a week, apparently.
Yeah.
So a lot of stress and anxiety on my shoulders right now, and yeah, like I'm feeling it. So we're gonna try to push through the show tonight, guys. Though, so I want to thank you guys for hanging in there with me as I try to hang in there with you guys. So,
yeah. So those of y'all here right now, Tyler, what's up, Tyler? Pizza time. Yeah. I mean, I'm down for some pizza. That sounds good, actually. Who else is here? Let us know that y'all are here. Sound off in the chat. As always. Oh, I am starting to get that echo now.
Are you echoing?
Might be echoing just a little. Yeah, there's a little bit of echo. Let me switch over to some AirPods.
Let me know if I need to do so too.
I can't hear you. Well, I'll let you know. Yeah, there's still a little bit of an echo.
Okay. Looks like I need to also.
So yeah, guys, hit up the streamlabs.com/cinefanatics. Super chat, any questions, comments. We're going to try to keep this going through. So if y'all want to add anything, please, let's keep the interaction on this going pretty well. There's a lot to do, but I'm typically, those of y'all that are familiar with the tagline and our layouts, I'm going to just straight up yada yada some of this, because I want to get to the news. The news, I think, is the most important thing as to what we're doing tonight. And I want to try to just get there. So you hear how my brother's doing personally. Me, I've just been busy a lot. Anyways, no big deal. Moving on. New movies. Did you watch any new movies this week?
No.
Okay. I've watched a bunch of new movies. If you want to know what I've watched, in my opinion, my what's it called? Letterboxd is in the description. Check that out. The only one I am going to go ahead and call out is I just saw for the first time Singing in the Rain. Absolutely love that movie. That movie's a masterpiece. That jumped straight to a 5-star rating for me. So if you haven't seen Singing in the Rain, highly recommend it. Yeah. Anyways. And patreon.com/cinefanatics. Hop on that, join the tier that you want to join that could help us out, especially over here. Chiropractor visits are not cheap. Yeah. I believe our Discord is up. So those of y'all who are members of our Patreon right now, you should be able to get through to our Discord. It is, I believe it's officially up. If anyone in chat sound off, let us know if you're able to test that and give us a thumbs up if getting through Patreon to the Discord works. And then I guess
it should be connected. So yeah, if you're obviously if you're at least at the $1 tier on up, let us know if when you log into the Patreon if there's a area that you should if there's an area that links you to it. Otherwise I might just have to send out a post with a link to it somehow. So
thank you, Ryan. Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you.
Struggles McGee. I mean, struggle's real, y'all. So, I'm
gonna do my best to try to be as jovial as possible during the stream, like we usually are. But man, I'm not feeling it today.
Yeah. So. Unfortunately, that happens. One thing I do want to also point out before we get started into movie news, like within 10 minutes of starting the show, this Friday, we have this coming Friday night, there is the Schmodown Spectacular after show, pre-show extravaganza thing that is happening over on the Smash-a-thon YouTube channel. Those of y'all that are familiar with the Smash-a-thon that happened back in last month, over on that same exact channel, the four of us, ourselves, Call to Action, Let's Get Ready to Talk Schmodown, and A Certain Point of View will be teaming up to be doing a pre-show. So join us over there. I believe it's going to be at 7:30 Pacific, 9:30 Central, 10:30 Eastern. All donations and proceeds are going to go to Kevin Smets as well. That's why it's still on the Smash-a-thon channel. Plus, it's just the four of us coming in. So it's not one particular after show over the other in that case. We all come together on that channel now. So
yeah. Also, it should be noted it's not going to be a 24-hour live stream like before. It's going to be like 2, maybe 3 hours. It's going to be a lot shorter of one. It's just going to be a smaller deal.
Until Call to Action gets their way, and then it just becomes like a 6, 8, 9 hour long stream.
Until somebody lets Jake Iacovetta in there and he starts telling everybody to do shots or something.
Yeah. Go over there Friday night. I believe probably by Thursday or so, the actual video will probably be up that you can go and follow and whatnot. So check that out. It's going to be a lot of fun. Anyways. Let's go ahead and move into the movie news. Again, there's going to be like some little bits because there's 2 big, massive things of movie news that we want to get to before my brother collapses tonight. So let's get through like some of the small news real quick. A image was released this week. Taryn Edgerton. The first image of him from the Tetris movie was released. Chris, what did you say that he kind of like looked like?
He's got hot dad vibes.
Oh yeah, you're like hi diddly ho neighbor.
Hi diddly ho neighbor. Yeah.
So this is Taryn Edgerton. Apparently he's playing Henk Rogers, not Hank, but Henk Rogers is a Dutch video game designer, basically the founder of the Tetris company that handled a lot of the licensing for the Tetris game and was one of the ones who helped get it onto the Game Boy when the Game Boy came out in the 80s. He's not the inventor of Tetris. He's just one of the developers of it.
He's playing Matt Damon from The Informant.
Kind of, yeah. This looks interesting. At first, when I heard they were doing a Tetris movie, I've got like bad vibes of like Battleship. I'm like, oh no, they're gonna turn this into like a bad sci-fi. Pieces are gonna fall from the sky, and we're all running. Duh. No,
Maybe like Pixels.
Yeah, kind of like Pixels actually did like a Tetris nod because they did have like the square pieces. I think they actually did at one point had like Tetris pieces falling from the sky. So, so it's not like that. It's more of just the development of the game and how the game came to be a worldwide sensation. Kind of sounds like it might be interesting. I do like Taryn Edgerton in biopics, because he usually does really good.
I feel like you're speaking about at least one specifically there.
Yeah, Rocket Man was a really good movie. There was the other one where, what was it? Is it Eddie the Eagle? Where he was like a skier trained by Hugh Jackman. That looked good. I just never got around to seeing it, but I'm kind of curious to check that out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mark Ellis will be so here for this movie. Yeah.
Although I feel like Ellis would prefer an actual like sci-fi Tetris movie over a biopic of the creation of it, but
I don't know. I feel personally connected to this movie because I grew up with the Game Boy and the Nintendo and playing Tetris. Little known information, I am the 1993 World Tetris Champion of all time. I almost made it in 1994. If it wasn't for little Billy Smarts, he beat me, and I hate Billy Smarts for that. Anyways,
Billy Smarts.
He has a dumb name.
Dang.
Anyways,
Smarts.
Moving on.
He's bitter about Billy.
Do what?
He's bitter about Billy.
Bitter about Billy. Yeah, Billy Smarts. What a
dweeb.
Yeah. So moving on again, yada through some of this a bit.
Yada yada.
They're gonna make a Plastic Man movie.
Woo! Cool.
There's a thing though.
Huh.
It's gonna be a female Plastic Man. So Plastic Ma'am.
Plastic Ma'am.
I hear that, and the first thing I'm thinking of is that that customer at the GameStop in Albuquerque, like a couple of years ago, that it went viral. It was the transgender, and she was like, "It's ma'am," and that blew up all over the internet. That's what I'm thinking. It's Plastic Ma'am. But I seriously doubt that's what they're calling her. But I kind of like this idea only in so much is I'm kind of hoping that this is potentially going to be a movie that will still include Plastic Man. Like I want Elle O'Brien, the titular Plastic Man that we know from the comics. I'm still wanting him involved in this somehow.
Yeah.
But I like this idea because it's basically WB is turning around, and they've had so much success with Wonder Woman so far because she was easily like one of the best parts of Batman versus Superman, of Justice League, and of course her movie minus the third act. She's been phenomenal, and I know DC WB is wanting to capitalize on another female-led superhero. I kind of like this idea just because all the stretchy superheroes that we've seen in comics have always been men.
But the only stretchy one that we've seen that's had like real solid success on screen has been a woman.
Yeah, other than Elastigirl from Incredibles.
Yeah. But this is an interesting one because
they should get Holly Hunter to play her.
Yeah, right. This is they're not going to do that because she's too busy drinking grandma's peach tea. Yeah. This is gonna be an interesting one though, because I don't know. I have like a Ghostbusters 2016 feeling about this, and I know that just like that movie wasn't bad. It just wasn't as successful as it could have been.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's going to be the same case here, and I don't know why. But I think the big thing is that Plastic Man isn't as big of a character as some of these other like main DC characters. So there's room to go ahead and was a gender bend a little bit and change the character up to a female character.
Mm-hmm.
I just wonder if the Plastic Man property in and of itself is worthy of leading its own movie at this point, or if that character is better as an ancillary character to some other characters.
Well, kind of like what Ryan here in the chat was saying. He's got the DVD set. So there was a Plastic Man cartoon. He was back in, I think that was, Ryan, feel free to correct me. I believe that was back in the 60s or so, that he did have his own focused animated cartoon. Yeah. And then, of course, that like my interaction with him when I was a kid, I grew up playing with the Superpowers figures, which I love, and I still have some of them. Like, there's a part of me that kicks myself for not like keeping them in the on the blister cards because they're worth a ton now. But the fun that I had with them as a kid, I don't feel like you could put a price on that. But that was probably my first foray into comic books. I had, and I still have it somewhere, the Plastic Man figure. I think his like leg is broken, and I don't know if his head stretching neck thing happens anymore. But
yeah,
but yeah, I mean, he was able to at least hold a cartoon and whatnot. He might be able to. All right, Rudolph. Yeah. you just did the claymation Christmas where the guy like rubs the dude's nose.
I really did. Like, I clicked off the camera just to scratch my nose, and I clicked it back on, and my nose is like super strawberry. That's funny.
So we grew up with like a VHS tape that I made where I recorded all I know all the Christmas specials, and I had the claymation one, and there was a bit on there where the California Raisins are singing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and at one point one of the raisins like rubs the nose of another raisin, and the nose glows red, and he becomes like Rudolph in the song. That's what you just did.
That story was worth the detour.
It was. Anyways, we got to put some kind of character into this channel. This is our personality shining. My ADHD, but
my personality will shine when my neck is straight.
Yeah. Yeah. I need to find that Plastic Man figure talking about with the straight neck that expands. Right? Because that would be you right now. Yeah, I'm kind of interested to see where this goes. Hamstrakt said it. So Plastic Man cartoon came out in 1979, but I remember watching it in the 80s. Yeah. And the Superpowers figures I collected were I believe they had the 1984 imprint on the back of them. So that would be cool. So basically, they could have a female plastic woman, but doing like a Deadpool with like the fourth wall breaking, wisecracking.
Yeah, it'd be interesting.
Plastic Man comedy adventure show. Yeah, Ruby Spears, 79 to 81, shown right after Super Friends. Interesting. So yeah, I think it might be a property that could potentially sustain its own, but I believe it's going to take more than just like the Plastic Man, Plastic Woman. I'm hoping that they bring Elle O'Brien into there as well, just because I like how goofy he is also.
Further news on this story to develop as the production of this movie develops, if it does.
Yeah. This one, Chris, you might be able to talk about more than me because I'm not a video game player per se.
Yeah.
But it was announced this. It was announced this week. This past week, that Oscar Isaac will be playing Solid Snake in a Metal Gear Solid movie. I kind of like this casting idea only, and I didn't grab the picture that I've seen. I've seen some like fan edits. Yeah. I didn't grab one of those just because I don't necessarily, when I'm grabbing images for tagline, I don't want to be grabbing like something that someone else artistically made. If I can't figure out a way to like tag them and credit them and whatnot. So
yeah. Right.
I guess I could put it at the bottom of the image, but anyways, I didn't think, just based on looks, because I don't know anything about Metal Gear Solid. Just based on looks, I was like, I don't know if I can see it. But after the fan images and mock-ups, it might be a good choice.
So here's the thing: this one's less about looks and more about, aside from the fact that looks wise, Oscar Isaac as Solid Snake would actually be really cool. Mm-hmm. It'd be really cool to see him in the Solid Snake getup. This is going to be more of a good starring vehicle for Oscar Isaac in terms of like his own private action series, his own private action franchise, essentially. Provided, of course, that this movie can break the video game, movie curse that has existed prior to Detective Pikachu and Sonic.
Yeah, let's say those two have really been doing good as far as being able to break through that barrier.
They've gotten better critical response than most other video game movies for sure. And but
who knows how Mortal Kombat's going to do?
We'll see. More on that later. So this one will be pretty interesting. I never really played the Metal Gear Solid games. I know a lot of, a decent amount about them in terms of what was in pop culture about them during their like real strong heyday. Say like back during the GameCube, PS2 generation. I even made like the tweet about that. I was like, if Psycho Mantis, one of the villains from the game, doesn't come out and tell me that I played Luigi's Mansion 20 years ago on my GameCube, is it even really a Metal Gear Solid movie at this point? Which those of you who know about, the memes and stuff about that, know exactly what I'm talking about. How that villain would read your memory card in your system and tell you the games that you were playing. It's kind of interesting. Anyway, I like it. I like this idea. Oddly enough, I'm actually more familiar with Solid Snake from, say, Super Smash Brothers, because again, I never really played Metal Gear Solid, but I'm like a huge fan of the Smash Brothers games. So as far as like what I've gleaned from his character, from that, this will be a really interesting thing. And like I said, I'm really interested in seeing if this can be a franchise vehicle for Oscar Isaac to lead now post Star Wars. I think this would be a great thing for his career too.
Mm-hmm. It's being directed by, I might mess it up, Jordan Vogt Roberts, who also directed Kong Skull Island.
Yep.
Which that one I didn't think was too bad. So.
He's able to handle a pretty serious tone while also still having some fun with it too. The tone that I caught from Skull Island, I think will translate well into a Metal Gear Solid, and I'm assuming that Jordan also knows a whole lot about the franchise as well, and so it's going to be a really niche project for him to take on.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be good. I think there's potential there for it to be really good.
That's gonna be one of those like I know of the character just because you can't exist in this world without knowing about Metal Gear Solid, but I don't really know anything about it. I want to say like I feel like the video game plays more on that whole like stealth mode type of thing. Kind of like the Batman Arkham games have a lot of it have had parts where you really just had to be stealthy and you're crouching down and you jump out and grab someone and choke hold them out and whatnot.
Yeah.
That's what I believe the Metal Gear Solid games are a lot alike about.
They're like a spy action. Yeah.
Yeah. So that might be pretty good. I kind of want to see a trailer, but this might be one of those, like, I see the trailer and I want to go see the movie. and that's what's going to really kind of help bring me into wanting to watch this. So,
right, yeah, yep. I think there's a lot of good potential here. So we'll see how it pans out.
So moving on to the next one, Disney. Disney's got some stuff about to happen, y'all. Rumor has
that next week.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Disney looks like Disney might be potentially merging even more. I know they own it, but like doing more of a merge with Hulu. We've talked about this before in regards to Disney. Since they acquired Fox, they need a place to put all those Fox movies.
Yeah.
They can't be releasing them constantly out to like Netflix or HBO Max or whatever. So they need a place to put these movies that they now own, so they get all the money from the revenue of those. And Hulu was a place that like we talked about before. I kind of had the idea of like maybe a separate streaming service or maybe like an add-on to Disney Plus, but it looks like they might actually be going the route of they'll put those movies out on Hulu. So that might be something that pops up.
It's possible, but that also looks like they could be just maybe killing Hulu and just merging all of Hulu onto Disney Plus at this point.
Yeah.
Because there's been like some layoffs and stuff over at Hulu. There's been some stuff happening over there that's been kind of interesting to hear about, because it's usually that kind of stuff that happens before like you get a big like corporate merger kind of a thing. So I don't know, like I know that Disney doesn't have full controlling stake in Hulu, but I know they have most controlling stake in terms of like the shares of Hulu given out to the different networks and everything. It's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I'm thinking too. Maybe keep Hulu's name and just bring it together as one part of Disney Plus. Maybe make it to where like how they've had package deals where you can get Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN. Instead, do it as those are all under the same service, and you can get just the Disney Plus package for, say, what we're paying per month now, like the $6 or $7 right now, or you pay a little bit extra to get the Hulu add-on. In which case, yeah, if you got little ones running around the house and you want them to only access Frozen and Iron Man, and you don't want them to access Aliens and whatever else, Predator and all that, you can create a parental control. Or if you're like us, who we're responsible adults who don't care about such things,
we don't give a darn.
We don't give a flying darn. You don't have that age gate on. It's something that you can turn off and on. I think that's honestly the best way, is just make it to where the Hulu section of Disney Plus requires a parental code to get in, if you so choose to set that up.
Yeah. And so that's a possibility that's happening. Also, this Thursday, there is rumors in the wind. Or my brother had bean burritos last night. I'm not sure, but
just beans.
Oh, okay. There's something in the air saying that this coming Thursday, there might be announcements in regards to Disney's future ideas, potential movies and TV shows with Star Wars and the MCU.
And just Disney in general.
Yeah, this will be cool because we really, for the most part, we don't have like I feel like a good, clear focus on what other movies Disney could do in the Star Wars universe right now. There's talks. We've been told that like directors are going to be doing like another set of movies. Was it the people involved with Game of Thrones were supposed to be doing movies, and then I think they pulled out or something.
Yeah, they're out now. We know like Ryan, they were writers. We know that Rian Johnson, apparently they have not confirmed yet that he is or is not actually taking on a trilogy still. And I know that Taika Waititi, I think, is supposed to be taking on, I believe, either a solo movie or a trilogy. I can't remember which one. And then Kevin Feige, as producer, is supposed to be helping out on at least one movie somewhere too.
Interesting. So. Kevin Feige with a hand in the Star Wars universe? Yes, please.
Mm-hmm.
That would be fantastic. And then, of course, as far as like Star Wars TV goes, Mandalorian has been doing fantastic this season. It is absolutely amazing. I wish we had planned this out and not like limited our channel to really only talking about movies. I know we get away with like a little Mandalorian talk here and there, but it's only because they're connected to the larger movie universe. Yeah. There's a potential there that they might announce some spin-offs of the Mandalorian, especially because there's stuff like Ahsoka might spin off into like a live action Rebels sequel type of thing. There's a lot of stuff they've been doing this season that would make complete sense for them to spin off of the Mandalorian, and I am so down for it.
Yeah.
If they have Dave Filoni in charge, oh yeah.
I mean, so we know Christian Harloff, the guy who created and runs the Schmodown. He has been known to talk a lot about how he believes Star Wars TV is the way to go for the future for the Star Wars property right now. And I don't disagree with him. I am more inclined to want to watch Star Wars television at this point with how Mandalorian is going over, say, another Star Wars movie. Now, if they can do both, obviously I'm never going to say no to a Star Wars movie. Even if it's another Solo.
Solo too. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Might say no to one.
Well, I'd still watch it even though I don't like the first one. Yeah.
We need the story of how he got his pants. I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah, we missed that part. Anyway. Take control. Take over.
Yeah. Anyways, so yeah, there's Star Wars information coming up. There's MCU. The MCU has been known from time to time to do things where they make like movie announcements. There was that one, I think it was the one where they were announcing Phase 3, and they kind of did like this random event, kind of like an Apple announcement event, where they announced all their movies, and then for those of y'all who've seen it, if you haven't seen it, you need to find this on YouTube because it's still up. I watched it the other day and it still gives me chills. They made the announcement of all the slate of movies, and the first one they talked about was Captain America, Serpent Society. Then they talked about all the other movies. They ran this like teaser for Infinity War that ended with like a close-up of the Infinity Gauntlet, and it pulled back to reveal Thanos behind it, holding the gauntlet with all the Infinity Stones, and the crowd loses their freaking mind. And I still get chills when seeing that, even though like now I've watched Endgame and Infinity War. I lost count. Watched those movies over and over and over again. But going back and watching that reveal was great. And then, of course, after that, they went back and he's like, yeah, I kind of have like buyer's remorse on that Serpent Society title. And then they changed it to Civil War. And then that was when they first announced that Chadwick Boseman is playing Black Panther. Chadwick. And they bring him up. Do what?
Chadwick.
Yeah.
Right.
Chadwick.
Dog.
I'm like,
Tom Dagnino.
Yeah, I think that's where I got it confused at, actually. Tom Dagnino from the Schmodown mispronounces that all the time. He does it on purpose, and I do it on accident because I've watched the Schmodown.
I don't know that he does it on purpose.
Yes, I believe it was this one.
Yeah.
Was that the El Capitan Theater?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Interesting.
Yep.
But yeah, that was a fantastic video, and it's on YouTube. I think it's got like over like 6 million views or something like that on there. I love watching that periodically from time to time. So
yeah, don't know what I was saying before. Got a little distracted there.
I'd talk about Star Wars.
Yeah. So, about Star Wars TV. Basically, at this point, I'm sold on anything that's Star Wars television. If they come out like, hey, we're just going to do this no-name character randomly somewhere in the Star Wars universe, you want to watch a show about it? I'll be like, yes, I do. Give it to me now.
Mm-hmm. Give it to you now. Give it to me now.
I think that the question is, what are we going to hear out of this potential announcement that's coming? Besides like the potential of the Hulu Disney Plus merger stuff, but I think for sure that you're probably going to hear something about an Ahsoka spinoff for the TV. And I think maybe we get like some ideas as to what's going to happen with the MCU. Possibly the announcement of Black Widow going to Disney Plus at this point.
Possibly. This is all very likely something that will be the main topic of Tagline next Tuesday. So make sure y'all are come back for that, because
provided I'm upright.
Yeah. Well, at this point, we're gonna put you in that thing like George McFly was in the future, in Back to the Future 2, where you just hang upside down.
Right.
Who's gonna eat all this dehydrated pizza? Oh, I'll eat it. We're gonna do that.
Exactly.
That might help realign everything. Anyways. So all right. So almost at the big one for the night, but this one was huge today. A ton of news dropped. I remember like this morning, I woke up, was about ready to get about to get up and get ready for work, and they reported again. I'm not sure how much of this is actually confirmed, but at least it's reported that Alfred Molina is signed back on to play Dr. Octopus in Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
And I believe I have an image. So, yeah, here's what we're about to cover is all this Spider-Man goodness.
If you have to take some time to say, like, I have an image instead of just putting up the image.
Typically just skip by the image. But, yeah, Alfred Molina is back playing Doc Ock. So now we've got Jamie Foxx is back playing Electro, and Alfred Molina is Doc Ock. I'm wondering if we're going to get the Green Goblin at this point.
I don't know. I don't know if they capture Willem Dafoe in this. And, maybe we'll see. Oh, gosh.
That might be interesting. Like, they would have to make it Willem Dafoe as the Green Goblin, and then they have to get, what's his name? Who played Green Goblin in Amazing Spider-Man 2?
Yeah, Dane DeHaan.
Come on. Yeah, I was like, come on, Schmodown.
Dane DeHaan,
yeah. So get him as
Harry
Osborn instead of going the James Franco route. Or you could get James Franco. That might be kind of cool too. So I'm kind of curious as to what exactly they're doing. I feel like the cat's out the bag that they're obviously doing a Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
I mean, you had Doctor Strange in this, so that's what with the fact that Doctor Strange's next movie is into Madness into the Multiverse or something like that.
Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah, okay. I'm dyslexic tonight. Give me a second. That they were going to do that. They are expanding and starting to talk about multiverses, which was hinted at in Far From Home, even though that was disproven as something made up by Mysterio. Apparently, it still exists anyways. So we're running into this situation now where we got to tie up this thread from the Spider-Man movies, which is everyone knows that Peter Parker is Spider-Man now, but now we're also diving into the Spider-Verse, which was followed up today by the announcements again of Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield plus Kirsten Dunst and Emma Stone also potentially being signed on for Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, our good buddy over at Collider, Jeff Snyder, was reporting on this earlier, saying, yeah, they're all returning. So that's kind of a fun little reporting that he's doing.
I'm wondering when they get someone from Turn Off the Dark.
Never. So the question I have though is that do you cast the live action Miles Morales? Do you actually, again, like I thought before, do you tie this also into the animated Spider-Verse and just make it all one big part, one big thing? Like even the animated Spider-Verse is tied into the live action somehow.
Which is why I have this guy that was sitting back here, the Spider-Man 2099, which at the end of Spider-Verse, of course, we saw the Miguel O'Hara 2099 Spider-Man.
Yeah, I was gonna say, speaking of Oscar Isaac.
Yeah, speaking of Oscar Isaac, who did the voice, there's a possibility that they could be doing maybe some weird thing where they combine all of this, that the animated movie is now also going to be tied into the live action movies, and that the animated movie is also its own like side dimension. If you remember the beginning of that, they did have the Chris Pine Spider-Man that was seemingly the Spider-Man from the Tobey Maguire movies.
Yeah, and that's kind of the theory I'm having. There's obviously been nothing confirmed in terms of the animated being tied into all of this, but it just feels like that'd be an interesting way to go if they decided to do that. Otherwise, I'm very interested in
what an appropriate glass of water.
Yeah, I'm very interested in what it is that they're doing with this movie and kind of Sony bringing together their past Spider-Man franchises and kind of making it all into one continuity, sort of. It's just very interesting to me.
Yeah. So I'm curious as to what they're doing, but like Hamstrakt is saying here, it could be a mess waiting to happen. I mean, you look at the MCU. The MCU hasn't had that many misses. I mean, Thor: Dark World is typically regarded as like probably the worst movie of the MCU, but it's still watchable. I've watched it multiple times. We have yet to get that movie that you just walk away from like, ugh. All right.
Yeah.
And the thing is unfortunate, and I'm trying to be positive here, y'all. I don't mean to be Debbie Downer, but the Spider-Man movies don't have a good track record when it comes to the third one. One of the franchises didn't even make it to the third one. They didn't have a good track record on the second one. But yeah, the original Spider-Man 3 with Tobey Maguire, they were trying to combine too much into it. And that's the same with, like, say, the X-Men movies. X-Men The Last Stand tried doing the Cure and the Dark Phoenix saga. Just fell flat.
I can't even do it, yeah.
Yeah, you typically do that better than I do, and I don't have the soundboard to be able to do the sound effects on this time, but
yeah.
So I'm hoping for the best, but the thing that keeps me like really feeling positive about it is, remember at the end of Far From Home, we did get J. Jonah Jameson played by J.K. Simmons again.
Yeah.
So that was a nice little hint and nod as to the direction it could potentially be going. We could end up. Here's the thing. They said that Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield is going to be in this movie, but they didn't officially say if they're playing Spider-Man. Yeah. We're just all assuming all these people are playing their original characters. I think they said they did confirm that Jamie Foxx is playing Electro. And again, it's reported that Alfred Molina is supposed to be returning as Dr. Octopus, but are the other characters coming back as their characters from the previous movies? So that's what I'm kind of curious to find out. It could be interesting, but
I think that you do. I think that you do bring them back as Spider-Man because, I mean, that's what people recognize those characters as. They recognize them as Spider-Men. And if you're doing like a multiverse thing that you're also doing with, like, say, Doctor Strange, why wouldn't you have multiple Spider-Man from multiple universes, especially if you're bringing the villains of those Spider-Men into, you know, the Tom Holland Spider-Man universe?
Yeah. I like this idea. What if they get Franco to play the Hobgoblin? Potentially, but I have a feeling that's what they're doing with Ned right now. Because there's been a lot of hype on the actor that plays Ned, Jacob Batalon. There's been a lot of hype in regards to like his Instagram showing him like losing weight, slimming down, and then like they told him what they're planning on doing with this character, and his mind was just blown. So there's a very strong hint that might be what they're doing with him, because his character is supposed to be Ned Leeds, which is one of the aliases of Hobgoblin in the comics. There's been multiple people that played Hobgoblin in the comics, but that's probably what they're going to do with him as well. That's the thing too. is this is Feige, so I trust that Feige's going to have a better idea. I agree with putting all of this together over what we've had coming from Sony. The problem with that, though, is Sony still has kind of the final say on some of this stuff, particularly in regards to Spider-Man and all the Spider-Man related movies. And as we've seen, like with the Amazing Spider-Man franchise, it seemed like all they were trying to do was just build to the Sinister Six. And then they scrapped that franchise, started working with the MCU. And again, they're just building up to the Sinister Six. So I feel like that's where this is all also leading up to. But it's also, I feel like some of it's going to depend on where exactly and how they could tie in, say, like Morbius and Venom into this Sony version of the Spider-Man universe, pocket of Spider-Man universe, and or if they do jump into the Spider-Verse thing, is this potentially one of the ways that they're looking on eventually splitting Spider-Man off of the MCU and just letting him build his own universe again, and they're no longer connected, and just allows Marvel and the MCU, Disney, to continue on with their thing and separate Spider-Man. There's that possibility too.
Yeah, which is interesting. Not really enthusiastic about it, but
that's just where we're at right now.
There's a lot in life I'm not enthusiastic about right now, to be honest.
Anyways, I think that's it primarily for Spider-Man news. It's just a lot that was announced today, and so it's a lot to kind of process and go through. Let's talk about HBO Max. I'm not even doing a segue for this one. Let's just go straight into this. To set this up, though, keep in mind, we do the tagline, this is Tuesday night. This is the one thing I hate about doing this show in the middle of the week, is that it, for the most part, it never fails. We do this Tuesday night, and then we wake up the next morning, and there's a massive amount of news that just breaks. And then we have to wait almost the entire week when everyone else has already gotten their say out about it before we're able to talk about it. Well, this is what happened last week. We did our show last week on Tuesday, and Wednesday morning we wake up and it's announced HBO is planning on sending, you already know what I'm talking about. But anyways, HBO is sending all of their 2021 movies to HBO Max, or not HBO, Warner Brothers sending all of their 2021 movies to HBO Max. Day and date with theatrical releases, much like what they're doing with Wonder Woman 84 on Christmas.
Yeah,
they're going to do that throughout all of 2021. This is a massive blow to movie theaters, and I feel like we've heard a lot of people talk about this, but I mean, Chris, you haven't talked too much in this. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is kind of a huge deal. It's very unprecedented, obviously, because it's not too often that we face a global pandemic. So this is one of those situations where, everyone throughout this year has been kind of moving at a, let's wait and see what's going to happen. Let's see how things play out pace. And so the question has always been up in the air: how much discussion has Warner Brothers really done over, say, preparing to make this kind of a move? And, to some degree, you have to expect that maybe a lot of this discussion started probably after Tenet was released, in which case they kind of, again, used Tenet as a guinea pig of sorts to see what movie releases during a pandemic might be like. So what we're looking at is that they realized maybe Tenet wasn't as big of a success as they were hoping for, and that we're gonna now, maybe it's better if we just push everything to, say, whatever theaters are open plus our streaming service HBO Max. And it's going to be curious to see what kind of, like, how successful these movies are, say, on the service itself, because I know there's a large portion of this country still that can't go see a movie in a movie theater. I mean, LA just got re-shut down completely again. I'm not sure like New York, but those are, like the two big cities, are getting like re-shut down. Virus cases are spiking while they're trying to like roll out vaccines here pretty soon. So
I know here in Austin, Texas, we're on the verge of having to go back under like massive lockdown again. They've already started up with the whole like don't go outside if you absolutely do not have to, and nothing's changed once they announced that. So whatever, but wear your mask, people, please. Let's get this over and done with. But like, I know we're on the verge of having to lock down, quarantine. You're not allowed out of your house except for essential again. Toilet paper and paper towels are flying off of grocery store shelves. So definitely, like, I see the idea. I see like where they're coming from with this decision. The problem when I was reading these articles myself, the number one thing I was thinking of is precedence. This is what Universal ran into earlier this year with Trolls World Tour. You remember they released that and they're like, we could release these movies just straight to video on demand. And at least AMC movie theaters were like, wait. What about us? AMC is not happy about this again. That this is potentially going to take away revenue from the movie theaters that are also still struggling.
Yeah.
Especially like if you're talking about in areas like here, again, in Austin, we might be fine and we might not be as locked down as LA or New York is, but we still have the ability to go see these movies in a theater, or we could watch it at home on HBO Max. We have, like we've stated before, unless it's something like my brother over here that can't sit straight in like maybe a movie theater's chair, we're very likely more inclined to go see the movie in the theater, even though we have like free access to go see it on HBO Max here at home. We're hoping to go see Wonder Woman 84 in the theater right now as it stands.
We'll see.
Yeah, a lot of these movies I want to see in the theater. You don't sit and watch Godzilla versus Kong on your laptop while laying in bed about to fall asleep. You go to the theater, you order, in our case, like with Alamo Drafthouse, drinks and food. You have a good time. You make it an event. You see it on the big screen. You go see Top Gun Maverick on an IMAX screen if you're able to. That's what these movies are meant to be seen on. We've all seen like pictures of Mona Lisa like on Google Images, but it's nothing compared to seeing Mona Lisa in frame hanging on the wall of the Louvre.
Yeah.
That's what that was made for. That art was put onto a canvas mainly because computers didn't exist at the time that Leonardo da Vinci painted the Mona Lisa. But that's beside the point. That's the art of these movies. So yeah, I see the issue with it, but at the same time, these movies need to come out. Movies need to movie, yo. And at some point, like some of these people, they just want their movie seen. I understand, like Christopher Nolan is saying that he wants his movie seen in a theater. He had a huge thing going on with making sure Tenet stays in a movie theater. Patty Jenkins did too. That these movies need to be seen on the big screen. Yeah. But you might not have a choice in unfortunately in this day and age. But like I said, it still just comes back down to the precedence this is holding. The news was saying that the movies would be on HBO Max for like a month, and then go away. And originally I read that it was only limited to just 2021. But apparently there was another article that broke out that I saw that saying they may continue to do that model after 2021.
Yeah, and that's kind of what people are on right now in terms of the whole idea of the death of the movie theater. This is where AMC is kind of stepping in and going, hey, maybe not a great idea. And this is where also, you have the more private individuals, say like your James Gunns and your other individuals, directors and all that, who are kind of a little upset right now about this, not just because it's happening, but because maybe they weren't given enough heads up notice that it was happening beforehand. There's a difference between like the executives in a studio and the decisions they have to make for business, and then the individuals, say like your Christopher Nolans and your James Gunns, who care a lot more about the art of filmmaking than they do the business side of it.
Mm-hmm.
No, obviously, big name directors are going to make their money, and that's fine, but they're making money doing what they love, which is making movies. And so there's a big thing for them in terms of, we want to make these movies. We want them seen the way we desire them to be seen, the way they're meant to be seen, at least at first. And I know there's a whole discussion as to how many of these like big blockbuster movies did you see first time, on a TV screen. Not many of us got a chance to see the original Star Wars movies on the big screen until the special editions were released in the 90s.
And I went and saw all of those, even though I've already seen the Star Wars movies multiple times by then. Yeah.
And so for a lot of us, our love for, say, like Star Wars came from VHS copies. But, now we're having to do that for a lot of people on a streaming service for movies that we haven't had the chance to see in a theater yet at all, and could have otherwise had there not been a pandemic. So there's a whole lot of like really interesting discussion about it. I, for one, am not upset with the decision that HBO Max is making, or Warner Brothers and HBO Max are making, to release these things on HBO Max. I think it's the same thing that a lot of people said. You've got to do what you've got to do right now. These movies have to get out. They have to be seen. Life has to carry on some way. Whether that has, exponential problems for theaters in the future, I would hope not, and I would think not, because I do think that the theatrical experience is so ingrained in culture that this is how you see movies typically first run. That it's never going to completely go away, but I don't know. I think there may be a way that WB handled this that they shouldn't have handled it that way. Maybe they didn't give enough heads up notice to the individuals involved who they needed to beforehand.
So real quick, I want to see, because PC's dipping out. PC did drop in the $5 super chat earlier. If you guys could own a club or bar, how would it look or be? I actually kind of like the idea of like a movie themed bar. If you could even go like the one step further, and like every weekend or so you redecorate it into like another like movie theme. Like one weekend it's like my first one I had was like an Alien versus Predator bar. I don't know why that's where I went, but one weekend you got that. The other one, it looks like maybe like the inside of the Shield helicarrier. One weekend you actually do it up like Roadhouse with like a mock-up Patrick Swayze on the side or whatever, bouncing people at the door, something like that.
That's funny.
Like that would be a fun bar, and I am down. If anyone has like however much money it takes to do that, to create that, I want to create that kind of a bar or club. Like let's be business partners together on that, because that would be fun.
I would call my bar Seb's. We would try to save jazz at that bar. And at first I'd probably want to call it Chicken on a Stick, but I will probably divert away from Chicken on a Stick and just go with Seb's instead.
Look, I just saw someone drop out of watching us when you brought up the La La Land reference.
Yeah, just like this. Whoop.
Good job. Back to the HBO Max thing. So y'all were talking about it in the chat, and I know I was wanting to bring it up as well. Hamstrakt brought this up. Legendary Pictures is not happy about this, especially because they were, I believe they're the ones that are behind Godzilla versus Kong
And Dune.
And Dune. See, now here's the thing. They were planning on a pretty sizable amount of money back on that investment in the Dune remake. I know a lot of people were saying that was like the number one movie they were looking forward to this year. And then when that trailer came out, everyone was like, oh yeah, this is going to be good. And we're not going to get it this year. And now it's got the very strong possibility of just going straight to HBO Max. I can see why Legendary's not happy on that.
Yeah, and Denis Villeneuve is not happy on that either.
Yeah. And that's the thing is you got like a lot of the directors are not happy. I know Christopher Nolan was the one that was really being singled out there because I think he was the first one that responded with it by calling HBO Max the worst streaming service. And then apparently the general public, there was a lot of backlash against Nolan because general public, who's outside of the studio space, all gave in the opinion like, yeah, but Nolan, you're not considering the fact that we're in a pandemic. And that's I understand the Hollywood environment. I get why Nolan says that. I get why the directors overall are upset. But then there's also the general public not knowing how Hollywood and movie production works. But they do know the fact that we're all in a pandemic, and what do you do? What do you do right now? Everything is so chaotic and off the wall that nobody has an answer for anything. We're all treading extremely uncharted waters here. Here we are. We're in December, and this pandemic is still going on. For the love of God, people, wear your damn mask. Beside the point. We are in uncharted water. This has never happened on this scale level. So when someone that has a certain amount of power in a certain industry makes a decision, guaranteed they spent a lot of time, effort, sweat, blood, tears, everything coming to that conclusion. And they figured for their industry that they represent, this was potentially the best idea. Us as a general public, probably not going to understand that because we're not in that group. For example, there's a lot involved with creating a YouTube channel that the general public does not know. People wake up in the morning, they get ready for work, they turn on Good Mythical Morning, they watch Rhett and Link try to eat eyeballs on a cinnamon roll or something. And yeah, that's what they did. Fish eyes on a cinnamon roll. It was gross.
Yes.
They watch that and then they go to work and that's their day. They have no idea the scale of production that goes into a YouTube environment. And that's the same thing. We don't know what all these studios are looking at. They're losing tons of money by having these videos sitting on shelves when they should have been playing in theaters. But no one was able to understand that. If they could turn around now and they make $1 per person off of that movie, they're almost in a panic state right now where they're like, you know what, that $1 is better than no dollar. And I think that's the focus that they're starting to get it. They might not be looking at $1, but I mean that might be where their head's at in this space currently.
Yeah,
we don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be. I feel like I'm using this term a lot. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. And the other thing that I don't know if a lot of people really mention or talk about too much is that let's say everything is back to normal by summer next year, which that might be a little generous, but everyone feels safe. We're all vaccinated and happy, and we're all back out and doing things like the pandemic never happened kind of a situation by summer next year. Again, probably not, but we'll see. Is there a world where WB can say like, hey, so first half of the year we released these movies and both. Second half of the year we're not doing HBO Max anymore. Everything's going to go back to just being in the theater like it should have been. And maybe that's why they didn't really take some time to actually let every single person know, because it's still a kind of a play it by ear type situation. And they might not have to reform like contracts and stuff with people, or they might not want to have to bother with all of that when they can just quickly all right, let's put this out there. We'll do what we want first, and ask for forgiveness later kind of a situation. May or may not be the right strategy in terms of like big scale stuff like this, but maybe so. Let's see. I know that was it Ryan was saying, as for Legendary, either Warner buys out their 75% or Warner sells off its 25% and lets them go find another distributor, which is true. Legendary having 75% of the production, budget for I can't remember if that was both Kong and Godzilla and Dune, or if that was just one of them. But yeah, that's the situation that Warner's in, because Warner's got just 25% of the budget on that one and is kind of making the decisions here because they are the distributor. I don't know. It's a rough situation. This is a really, really rough situation for like all the parties involved to try to figure out.
Because I'm of the mind, like me as a person that has no connection to any of these studios, production houses, or anything, I know how I have basic know-how of how movies are made and put together, type of thing. I have an understanding when I go into conversations, discussions about the way this stuff is made. But I'm also the type of person, I'm like, here's the thing. This is a situation where I'm like, why don't we just move on as is? Why do we got to make a big stink out of everything? We realize that this pandemic sucks for everyone. Just this isn't a time to be like quibbling over like dollars over here, cents over here. Why can't we just we all agree this sucks. We're all going to lose some money. Just move on. Like, why can't that be the way that we go? Why do we have businesses that are essentially, for what this kind of sounds like here, that they're still moving forward like it's business as usual, like the world is completely normal, and that's the kind of deal that they would be making should if Warner decided to do this anyways, if we weren't in a pandemic and they decided to do it, then I could understand Legendary like throwing a stink about it. But Warner's doing this as the best like self-interest for these movies during a pandemic. So that's why I'm like, why can't everyone just be like, oh, okay, we're during a pandemic. This is how it is. And again, it goes back to that precedent set. But again, as long as they're accentuating it, that has that little asterisk up there, like, hey, this is only during a pandemic, y'all. Everything's going to go back to normal after the pandemic's over.
Yeah, and we have to trust them at their word that they're saying that too. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we'll be able to see that in the future. I mean, when the pandemic's over, if they're still like, yeah, we're still going to do this. Like, well, no, guys, no. You need to go back to what it was. You have no excuse. Pandemic's over. Go back to movies in theaters, regular release schedule like normal. That's where we need to get back to.
Yep. So it's going to be interesting to see how that all shakes out, how it all plays out. I feel like that's the phrase of the night again. Just interesting to see how this plays out. It's kind of been the phrase of the whole year, honestly.
we'll just sit here. We'll just watch what happens. The other interesting thing to touch upon real quick is that HBO Max has dropped the 7-day free trial because of this.
Yep.
Which makes sense. Typically, you give people a free trial, like, hey, come peruse our movies. Do you find enough content within our service that you feel like paying the certain amount of money that we've decided is fair for these movies. For example, I'm a huge horror movie fan. I love horror movies. I did not keep Shudder after the subscription trial period that we used for doing the Halloween watch along. There's a lot of good stuff on there, and when I'm able to afford again, I probably will get the subscription, but the value for it with me right now, it's not very high. And I want it to be. I want to subscribe to them, but that's like... Once this crisis has abated, I will lay down these emergency powers. Yeah, well, I mean, good point. And we saw what Palpatine did. It didn't end well. So, yeah, I'm hoping that everything goes back to normal. But again, precedence has been said, hey, we could release these on the streaming service. But yeah, I think that's the thing with HBO Max is now that you know that you could get these movies day and date with theatrical release for free on a streaming service, that you could subscribe to the streaming service easily for the cost of one movie ticket per month. And you get not only that first run movie, you get all the first run movies for, say, the entire year, plus all the other movies and shows they have on their streaming service. That HBO Max, I think it's like, what is it, like $12.99 a month or something like that?
I think it's actually
something like that. Or if you're subscribed to HBO through your cable provider, you're allowed HBO Max included with that. It's a fantastic deal. There's a ton of good movies on that channel. I don't know why HBO Max ranked so low when they were ranking the streaming services, because that's probably my number one right now. Like, there's every time I'm like, what do I need to catch up on? I go to HBO Max and I find a movie most of the time that I'm like, I need to watch this, and I watch it. So I don't know. I feel like that's a good deal that they have right there. So yeah, I could easily see why they're not doing the 7-day free trial. That was like Disney dropped. Or they didn't drop the free trial. They just didn't allow you to watch Hamilton on that free trial, because they knew that's what people were going to sign up for 7 days, watch Hamilton, and then bugger off.
Yep.
So,
and that was supposed to go to a theater also. So,
yeah.
I think we're also in a situation where Disney's probably going to follow suit for a lot of their movies also, if they want to keep playing ball. Probably just going to wait and see how this whole WB situation pans out, because of all the craziness that it's causing right now. So we'll see. But otherwise, I think you're going to find that a lot of these services that get these first run movies put on them day and date as theaters are going to be dropping their free trial periods too. Just because if you get people to sign up, you want to be able to keep their dollar, because you should have gotten their dollar at the movie theater.
Hey, you should have gotten a lot more than just $1.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm kind of curious. I don't know if we're going to get, if any kind of like stats are going to come out. Like typically we'd be keeping track of box office charts as well. We would be talking about on this very show, and we have before, that when there are box office stats, we would talk about them and be like, hey, so this movie was number one in the box office. We barely touched upon that this year when Tenet and New Mutants was out, and that's about it.
Yeah.
And then I want to talk about it again, but again, pandemic, whatever.
We'll see with Wonder Woman, because there'll probably be some stuff to talk about with that.
Oh, I guarantee it's number one in the box office. There's no other movies. For the most part. Anyways, I'm curious as to more. I have a feeling this is not the end of this HBO Max conversation. Much like this year, we've been talking about movies that are being pushed back or movies that are going straight to streaming. I have a feeling this is going to be one of those topics that, for the most part, at least for probably the next couple of weeks, I'm willing to bet we will have some kind of portion of it to talk about during the tagline every Tuesday. So this is one that I feel like is going to stick around for a bit and be a very like huge point of contention for everyone.
Yeah,
as we move forward. So that's what I'm saying. Like, this news was released Wednesday of last week, and it's still like current news. It still makes sense to talk about it tonight on the show, which was what I was worried about. But nope, this news has blown up and still makes it very, very headline worthy for our show tonight. So,
yep.
Remember we used to talk about box office? Pepperidge Farm remembers.
Scoop McGee remembers.
Yeah, Scoops McGee.
Oh, Dan.
Oh, anyways, I think that's about it. Hey, we got Danny from C2A popped in here.
Yeah.
What's up, Danny?
Chris looks different. Oh, there he is. Yeah. I looked a lot like this.
Yeah. Malcolm was saying there's a bar in New Zealand, I guess, that decorates like for movies, and they did a Halloween. Here's the thing, like, as much as I like the Saw franchise, I'm probably not going to decorate my bar like Saw.
I want to drink
people to come
vodka
in.
sawed off foot.
Yeah, I want people to come in and not feel like they're being like tortured. Although, you know, the type of bar it might be, there's people into that. I don't know.
I drinking vodka out of a sawed off foot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah, that's kind of what we were mentioning earlier. There's going to be some Disney announcements happening. We'll probably be making that the headline topic of next week's tagline. Again, provided I am upright.
But I'm expecting some HBO follow-up as well. So
yeah.
Anyways, that does it as far as the movie news goes. Let's wrap this up for tonight.
Yes, please.
Yeah, first of all, kudos to you for still being able to sit here through this. So, guys, I'll try to make this quick. This weekend is the Schmodown Spectacular. Those of y'all watching, if you're familiar with the movie trivia Schmodown, that is happening this weekend. It's like 6+ hours of content. All of these matches are phenomenal matches. They're going to be a blast to watch. Make sure you either hop on the Patreon or you get that ticket to watch that this Saturday. You're not going to be able to avoid spoilers at all. It's not happening.
Especially because the public release schedule for this is going to be pretty much one match a week until the draft and awards. So unless you really want to wait every week for one match from Spectacular to release, I would just drop the on the $10 tier on Patreon or for the ticket and just go ahead and pick it up.
That $10 tier on their Patreon is easily the best deal ever. Christian Harloff sent off a tweet message today saying that there's also an announcement about how many Schmodown episodes they're going to be doing per month going into this next season, and basically making it sound like it's going to be a huge benefit to be a part of their $10 tier. So join us, if you would, as being at least at the $10 tier and helping out the Schmodown, because that's going to be some good stuff. Also, don't forget, we are, speaking of Schmodown, still running the campaign for hashtag Draft Cinefanatics. Wow, that didn't work very well at all. That lost the entire... Oh, that's right. We're in StreamYard. Anyways, hashtag Draft Cinefanatics. Make sure you plug that on social media and in any chats where it feels appropriate. Where applicable. If they're talking about Schmodown in the chat and managers and the draft, feel free to drop that hashtag Draft Cinefanatics. I want to be able to say, hey, we are here competing against, I don't know, Founding Fathers, Odd Couple, Corruption. We're doing it because the fans want to see us here. We want the fans to see us there. I am eager. I am hungry for a match. And he's just kind of hungry right now. But, I mean, he's hungry for a match as well. We want to see this happen. Please let us be your representatives for the fans. Let's get in there. Let's draft the Cinefanatics. Let's all have a good time. And back to our Christmas theme. Yeah. And the last thing I'll talk about in regards to Schmodown, again, this coming Friday night, it's 7:30 Pacific, 9:30 Central, 10:30 Eastern is the Schmodown Spectacular after show, pre-show extravaganza thing. That's going to be over on the Smashathon channel. Those of y'all familiar with the Smashathon that we had last month, it's that same channel. It's not going to be 24 hours long this time, but it's going to be the four of us, Cinefanatics, call to action. Let's get ready to talk Schmodown and a certain point of view. We're all coming together. We're going to be talking about the spectacular that's going to be happening the next day. So make sure you come over and you join all of us on that Smashathon channel. We're going to have a lot of fun.
Get our tasty predictions and pre-show thoughts.
Yeah, we're gonna have some fun over there on that channel. It in the past, it's always been a blast whenever like all of the after shows have come together. So make sure you join us over there for that as well. Again, that's coming Friday, 7:30, 9:30, 10:30, depending on your time zone.
Yeah, and hopefully I'll be upright.
You will be. We'll just tape you like your head and neck to the chair. So
don't know if that's helpful.
I don't know if that's helpful, actually. We could test it. I mean, this is Mythbusters type of scenario. We can.
I'm going to bust that myth right now. I don't think that'll be helpful whatsoever.
Quack, damn you. I reject your reality and substitute my own.
Anyway, guys, we're going to wrap up this show tonight.
Yeah.
Remember to hop on the Patreon, guys. We did just add Discord. If it's not there, feel free to let us know somehow on Patreon that you haven't found the access to the Discord yet, and we'll make sure to get you guys access to our Discord.
We're gonna get them an escort. I mean, which Patreon tier do they get an escort by the Cinefanatics?
I think I said Ascord, but I don't know. Anyway, so yeah. I need to bounce from this show, so
literally
hop on the Patreon, guys. Get on at least the $1 tier. You'll hopefully have access to our Discord there, and then obviously the other tiers are gonna get. I would have had them all updated today, but
reasons. Again, if anyone's able to get over there, if y'all want to test that out for us, just hop on your Patreon. Let us know if you can get over to the Discord, and then if you can, let us know that you're there in the Discord. Post a message like in the what's the general one there, real quick. The sweet hangs. Go over to the Sweet Hangs channel in our Discord and just like, hey, I'm here. It works, and we'll be like, cool, welcome.
Yeah,
and then you'll see the gloriousness of the Cinefanatics Discord. Anyways, let us know about that. We will also be double checking, make sure that works as we go on. Yep. There is no Schmodown replay. We are not officially doing a Schmodown replay to the Spectacular just because I got to work, and also
it's 6 hours.
Yeah, no, that's not happening. Our thought right now is that we will possibly at least maybe put a camera on while we're watching it, and then I might just edit it down to like just the reaction shots.
Just the highlights.
Yeah.
We'll see. Depends on if I'm upright.
Yeah. It might be, you might get the Addams brothers both like laying in bed, like, hey. I don't know why I'm laying in bed. I'm just to show solidarity with my brother, but that's just weird. Anyways, we will see y'all for Schmodown replay starting, I guess, next year with the next season. Possibly we might do something with the awards draft, depending on how the Schmodown's doing that.
And keep in tune with us on the social medias about the Schmodown replay. Since he just got home from work right before this, we haven't really had a whole lot of chance to talk about the announcement that Christian made today, with there being potentially upwards of 4 matches a week. That was a lot of fun, and I don't know if we're going to be doing that again necessarily. So we have some talks in terms of what Schmodown replay may end up looking like next season. So it might look the same, it might not. Stay tuned to social medias on the Twitters and all of that, and we'll keep you updated.
Yeah. Speaking of which, make sure you follow us. We are at Cinefanatics MLP. There is also Robert Adams MLP, Chris Adams MLP over there. Make sure you follow us on all three of those, because it's just fun to do that. That's Twitter, Instagram. Follow us. Lola over here does not have a Twitter hashtag, but you might see pictures of her eventually pop up on mine. She's trying to figure out why the light's purple.
That's funny. All right.
Kitty in the purple light. Anyways, That's going to do it for tonight, y'all. Thank y'all for watching. I know we tried to keep this super short and just fly through some of this news. Hopefully we have a lot more to talk about next week as well. But it's been a blast having y'all in the chat for this. Thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for being here. We very much appreciate all of y'all coming and watching. We will see y'all again next week. Again, join us Friday, Smash-a-thon channel, the after show. It's going to be great. And I think that's going to do it.
Yep.
What do we want to do? The video? Let's do the video. We'll see y'all next week. Good night.
See ya.
Later.